We start with breaking news tonight. An Atlanta police officer fired for shooting a man in a Wendy's parking lot, charged tonight with felony murder along with 10 other counts.
His fellow officer also facing charges tonight. The district attorney giving both officers until 6 p.m. tomorrow to turn themselves in. The charges coming 5 days after Rayshard Brooks was killed running away from Officer Garrett Rolfs and Devin Brosnan. 11 Alive's Joe Henke is live at the Fulton County Courthouse tonight.
Well, Aisha, it took District Attorney Paul Howard less than 5 days to file charges in this case. He says, unlike other officer-involved shooting cases, in this instance, they have not only several videos, they also have witnesses that are cooperating with their case. And District Attorney Howard claims one of the officers is now acting as a state's witness, despite that officer's attorney denying that fact. Here are the charges the two officers are facing. First, Officer Garrett Rolfs, he is facing a charge of felony murder in this case. Also 4 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for actions against Brooks and a shot that also went into a vehicle with several bystanders inside. He's charged with criminal property damage, 4 counts of violating his oath of office for not informing Brooks of the reason for the DUI arrest, firing a taser as Brooks ran away, excessive force, failure to render timely medical aid. He's also charged with aggravated assault, we learned in the courtroom today, for allegedly kicking Brooks in the head after he was shot. Officer Brosnan, he is charged with aggravated assault and 2 counts of violating his oath of an office as an officer. Howard says Brosnan is now acting as a state's witness. His attorney, though, denied that fact in a statement sent to our newsroom. He was critical of the charges being filed today, calling it a rush to misjudgment and abuse of charging power. In court today, Howard announced during a press conference that new detail of Rolfs kicking Brooks once he was on the ground after being shot. We also learned Brosnan, Howard says, stood on Brooks's shoulder, and 2 minutes and 12 minutes passed before medical help was called. From his office's investigation, Howard says they concluded Brooks was not a threat, and at the time he was shot, they measured the distance between Rolfs and Brooks to be 18 feet 3 inches.
We were able to conclude that based on the way that these officers conducted themselves while Mr. Brooks was lying there, that the demeanor of the officers immediately after the shooting did not reflect any fear or danger of Mr. Brooks, but their actions really reflected other kinds of emotions.
And attorneys representing Officer Rolfs released a statement before Howard's announcement today. In that statement, they said Brooks resisted arrest. They said Brooks punched Rolfs in the face. Rolfs, his attorney, says used his taser twice with no effect on Brooks. Rolfs, he went on to say, heard what he thought was a gunshot coming in his direction and argued the use of force was justified under Georgia law. Back out here live, you can see some protesters currently in the road there, including NBA star Dwight Howard, who is a relative of DA Paul Howard. DA Paul Howard himself was just in that crowd until moments ago. He came down here to talk with protesters. Protesters asked District Attorney Paul Howard why these officers are being given that opportunity to turn themselves in. They were demanding arrests be made immediately. District Attorney Howard, though, is hopeful the 2 officers will turn themselves in. He says as far as this case going to a grand jury to see if indictments will be made because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that might not start, that grand jury, until October at the earliest. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you for that information, Joe. We are expecting to hear from Brooks's family any minute now. We're going to listen in when that happens. But the shooting of Rayshard Brooks has had a ripple effect on the city of Atlanta, prompting Police Chief Erica Shields to step down. She is staying with the department, but interim Police Chief Rodney Bryan is in charge as the city looks for someone to take Shields' place. We streamed the entire press conference from Fulton District Attorney Paul Howard announcing those charges about an hour or so ago. You can watch that right now on 11alive.com or even on our YouTube page.